Welcome to the Crewcast, the Crew's live podcast about video games and all things Crew. Join us and many of your favorite crew members as we review games, talk about the new Crew series, answer your questions, and much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the Crewcast. Welcome to the Crewcast, episode 18 for September 21st, 2013. Today we have Extra, Gizmo, Fake Piper, and myself. And let's get right to the news. Alright, first news segment here, main news. Walking Dead gets a spin-off TV show. Giz, what's this about?
What's Walking Dead about? What's the spin-off about?
The TV show, the new one.
Walking Dead, well, I think it's going to basically be in the same universe, but it's going to be split off, and no one really knows where it's going to be set. So there's lots of talk about like where it's going to be set, what's going to be about. But it's basically going to be in the universe of the Walking Dead TV series right now, which is going to be airing on season 4 soon. But it's going to be completely new characters, I'm hoping. A completely different place, like a setting and everything. It's still going to be, obviously, zombies and, like, how they deal with zombies and stuff.
Yeah, I think it would be cool. You know, I really haven't read anything about it, so I've only heard what little bits you've said. But, I mean, if it was a show that kind of took place before the outbreak, chronicled how it maybe came to be, or at least how it started. Maybe not like the genesis of the infection or whatever, but at least the initial effects of it on the world. And, you know, in a sense, you know, it was something that either when the show ends, like say it's got a 2-3 season run or whatever, it kind of like ends with kind of the mess that we found ourselves in at the beginning of the first season of Walking Dead. But, I mean, who knows what they're going to do. I also think they should make a sitcom where the zombies come home from work each day and talk about, you know, how rough it was trying to eat humans and getting shot at by humans and blah, blah, blah. I think that would be kind of humorous.
I think it would be interesting if maybe they focused on, like, specific zombies themselves and maybe, like, how a person is surviving, they get bit, they turn, and then maybe follow them as a zombie until they get killed as a zombie. I think that would be really interesting if it was kind of done in kind of flashes, so each episode is a different character. I mean, there's so many ways they could take this. I'm really excited, but also a bit kind of cautious and thinking, but it is, Kirkman has got a say in this, and so I trust Kirkman. And obviously, it's not going to be based on the comics at all, whereas the TV show now is based on the comics. I hope it's not going to take liberties from the game, the Walking Dead Telltale game, though. I hope it's going to be completely separate to that. And the Telltale game is a completely separate universe to the TV series. It's set in the comic universe. It's very confusing. I'm going full nerd mode here, boss.
Well, I mean, I think this is highly interesting, this idea. I hope they don't make a mess of it. You know, I mean, obviously, the Walking Dead series is a series that I really enjoy. But I think it almost seems like a no-brainer that we're going to probably see how life kind of changed as the outbreak occurred. It just seems like a no-brainer that that's the route they'll go. I mean, because you don't really see that, you know, in the comic. You don't really see that in the show. I mean, you know, you kind of get thrust into this is happening, but in those weeks or months or whatever beforehand, I mean, how quick did this happen? I mean, how long was Rick where he was? I mean, they don't really touch on a lot of it, but I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously, spoilers for episode 1 here, guys, and issue 1 of the comic. Like, Rick gets in a coma and he wakes up a few months after the outbreak's already happened. So it's interesting that if they go that route of like following it, because obviously the army somehow failed in their defense of it. It's an interesting discussion as well when you talk about how the outbreak actually got so crazy and how zombies actually basically won in a sense. Because if an outbreak actually happened in real life with these type of zombies, like the army, you'd think would be able to handle it, and people would be able to handle it in a sense. And people would die, obviously, like maybe millions of people probably would die, or definitely hundreds of thousands would die. But like, how would they defend it? One thing I really don't want to happen in the in this new TV series though is that they do a flash forward type thing and go far into the future. I want them to stay either before and then at the start of the apocalypse, or in the mid part of the apocalypse, where the Walking Dead series is now.
Yeah. So I mean, this will be interesting. Now, is this supposed to happen next season? Not the current upcoming season, but in 2014?
I believe it was 2014. I think it starts filming in 2014. It might air 2015. I'm not sure. Derp on my part. Lol.
Yeah, I mean, I think the good thing is I would like to see a lot of other games, like the Walking Dead games. Maybe even
Oh yeah.
other things deal with this. Because sometimes I think the games and everything can deal with it better. Sometimes when TV writers get hold of things and producers, uh, it can become pretty bad.
I mean, the Telltale game is in itself a masterpiece, in my opinion, and season two will be coming out soon, hopefully. And I can't wait. If you guys haven't played season one, if you're old enough as well, I mean, if you're younger, maybe you should ask your parents. But it's a brilliant game. I mean, the story is just fantastic, and
Yeah, yeah, definitely. If you're at the right age group, go for it. And speaking of right age groups for a game, that kind of leads to our next game.
Segway.
Um, this game has been highly anticipated. A lot of press about the game. This game's always in the press, sometimes for good, sometimes they try to spin it negatively.
Ugh.
But last Tuesday, or this week, but last Tuesday we had uh, Grand Theft Auto 5 hit store shelves. And it made, in the first day of sales, and I'm assuming this counts with pre-orders and everything also, but first day sales, $800 million.
It's ridiculous. I mean, that's brilliantly ridiculous, but it's ridiculous that it made that much money. It's crazy. That blows my mind that it made so much money.
Now, does anyone have it yet? Extra Giz, I'm assuming that
Nope.
you guys haven't played it.
No, I will be playing. I mean, I think I'm gonna have to kind of surrender here and just literally go without food and water to get this game. Now I'm gonna save up like until I get it, so it's probably gonna be maybe 2 or 3 months when I get it. But I've watched a few videos of it and some streams of stuff. I've tried to avoid spoilers mainly, but I can't not have a look at this game. It looks really good, and there's a lot of positive things. I mean, IGN gave it 10 out of 10.
Are you going to go 360 or PS3?
That's my only thing. Like, if I get a PS3, then I can play Last of Us. But if I get a 360, then I can play with a lot of my real life friends. And I know, like, Piper has a 360, so I could make her get GTA 5 and then be like, play, 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 play. So I don't know. That's my only concern.
Now, I
Think
have
about that a
heard
little bit.
there was some news right before launch that if you have the 360 version, do not install the second disc. Only install the first disc. And that was recommended by Rockstar, makers of the game. It seems like technically there was some issue with the 360 in the way it handles pulling data off of the hard drive and off of the CD. That works better than trying to have, I guess, the way the drives on the 360s work, things get kind of fragmented, and it's just multiple places where things are stored. So the PS3 doesn't have that issue, but supposedly if you load it on just the first disc onto your console on the 360, streaming or pulling data off the second disc as you play works fine. I do not know if you can download the 360 version, the complete version, buy it online, and how that one works. If that one's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard about the problem though. I think I heard there was a PS3 problem as well or something. The render or something, render distances or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some reviews that give like this is better on the PS3, this is better on the 360. I think in general, they say the PS3 is probably the better platform to play it on, but it's only slightly better. so it's not like it's a big deal. And that's kind of common with the consoles. I mean, the games aren't greatly different. So, and of course, no word yet on a PC release or a next gen console release. Although you know
Yeah,
that they will happen.
yeah, they're going to release it on next gen. They with this amount of money as well. It's they'll be stupid if they don't. They'll be completely stupid. I mean, money to be made, and people will want to have it on next gen. I think. My only thing is with the online, when that comes out, obviously that's going to be ongoing. So how's that going to work and stuff? Do you think?
In what aspect?
Like when it comes out, obviously it's going to be updated. They said so. When the next gens come out, if they release it for next gen, do you think you'll be able to link with people who have it on the 360 with like Xbox One and like play with PS3 who are on PS4?
Oh, I don't know. I, I mean, maybe I don't know. I mean, I guess a lot of it depends on if they just do a pretty much a generic port, or if they really try to enhance things. You know, uh, the game looks good, but it could obviously with the next gen hardware could look better, and it could look better on PC than it does on the current consoles. But we'll have to see. I don't. I would say probably not. That you're probably going to have to play it with people who have it because they've got to take some advantage of the new hardware.
Yeah, I guess I know what you mean. But I mean, the game itself, from what I've seen of it, it looks like you can do so much. Like obviously, you play three different characters, and you can switch between them at any time, really. And it just, I need this game in my life. I need it in my life really badly. I keep seeing people playing it. I'm like, no, I want to play.
Any
Like,
thoughts extra on this one and the initial sales and the $1 billion forecast in the first month?
It's definitely impressive. I think it's to be expected with any GTA game. As far as like the PC release, that's definitely like something that I'm looking forward to. And hopefully it's not too late because I remember, and this is going way back, so I don't know if it's even relevant, but back in San Andreas when it was out for the PS2, it didn't come out for the Xbox until like 7 months after, which is,
it's a
you know,
similar
it's a
story
decent
with GTA
amount.
4 as well.
Yeah, GTA 4 did like the similar thing. But I think the only issue I've had with GTA 5 so far, as far as like just the reception it's got, is a lot of reviewers have been really heavily bashed. I know there was one person who gave it 8 out of 10, which for me, 8 out of 10, that's a really good review. That's a really good score. But like, I know that person's been having death threats sent to a house, and it's a similar thing I think with most
Why?
games that
Because it
come
was
out that
so
are really
low.
popular. Yeah, because it was 8 out of 10, not 10 out of 10.
It's a bit silly. I mean, it's their own opinion, really. I mean, they gave it a high score. It wasn't like they said it was like 3 out of 10.
Yeah, like
I
for
mean,
me, 8 out of 10 then needs to be really impressive. Like
I
that's a
mean,
really good score.
I can see how some people might be turned off by the fact that it's quite violent. There's quite a lot of like sexualized stuff in it and stuff. But I mean, let's be honest. It's an adult game. I mean, kids are gonna play it. I mean, yeah. But I mean, parents should really be looking at this game, thinking, okay, is my kid going to be able to play this and realize this is just a game? I mean, that's what normal people do. I mean, all this talk of, oh, it's going to encourage people to do drugs, oh, it's going to encourage people to kill people. No, it's not. Not really. It's a game. People who are clever and smart and have good parents know it's just a game. I mean, we've had these games for donkeys now. I mean, it's always the same story, like with San Andreas. Oh, it's too violent. Oh, GTA 4. Oh, it's too violent. Oh, but I mean, it's the same with all these games. It's annoying. It annoys me that these kind of games, which are pieces of art, in my opinion, because so much effort and work goes into making them, get bashed quite a bit by these media idiots.
The funny thing is with parents who say, "Oh, these games are violent. They're ruining, our child's. They're doing all this," and it's like, at the end of the day, GTA does not hide in any way, shape, or form the fact that it is a very adult game. The adverts
Yeah,
themselves clearly state that it is a very adult game. The shops that sell these games already can't sell to youngins, so clearly it's the parents themselves that are buying these games. So at the end of the day, if you're buying these games for your kids, then at the end of the day, it's your fault for not looking at the game close enough and not realizing what it is. And I just can't understand like where they're coming from in
yeah. I mean,
like that aspect.
I played San Andreas when it first came out, and like I turned out okay. I haven't killed anyone. I don't do drugs. I know it's
But
just a game.
it's the same thing, and it always goes on. It's an ongoing cycle. I mean, when I was a kid, you know, Dungeons and Dragons was supposed to be bad and ruining our youth.
What?
Yeah. Before my time, comics were looked at as kind of like an evil thing. Um,
What?
there's always things that people want to try to find and point blame at instead of looking at themselves. And it doesn't just have to be video games. Just to get a little other pop culture into this, Miley Cyrus did
Ugh.
her little thing on stage, and people were freaked out and
Ugh.
saying how, that wasn't my kind of thing, regardless. But
It's no
it,
one's kind of thing, was.
it's no different than when I was, a teenager, and Madonna did things at the MTV Music Awards to try to shock. It's no different than Marilyn Monroe back in my parents' time frame when she was kind of the sex symbol, and people were like, "Oh, this is wrong the way she's acting." Or go back further, Mae West, who was in movies and would say to the guy, flirt with all the guys and say, "Why don't you come up and see me sometime?" Uh, there's always been things, be it violent, sexual, or whatever, that have been done. It's just you get older, and then some of these people are like, they jump on Miley Cyrus's the hate bandwagon. I mean, all these celebrities, all these things are done just to get ratings, just to get put in the news and get in the press. That's shock and awe always works, but it's not that big of a deal. I mean, there was a thing in the news about GTA. People talking about how it's violent, how it's going to lead to violence. But one story that didn't really get a lot of press was that some kids were coming back from the buying GTA 5 and heard a fire or a smoke alarm in a house.
Yeah, I heard about this.
They kicked the door in to try to get to the guy. They called the fire department first. They couldn't get through the flames, but the fire department got there in time and saved like a 70-year-old man who was in the house. So obviously, you know, GTA didn't ruin these kids. I mean,
Yeah.
they did the right thing, and they tried to save the man's life themselves, which could have been a dumb move. They could have lost their own lives, but they wanted to do the right thing. Luckily, they had the brains to call the fire department first. Going into a burning house is a very dangerous proposition, and something best left for the firefighters who are trained. But I mean, these guys did the right thing. These are just kids that are going to probably go home and play that game and shoot and run over people and do all those things. But at a core, those are good kids. They did the right thing.
No, I
Well,
mean,
that's media. Go on.
at the end of the day, I mean, a game and like a movie and stuff, and it's an escape. You don't do it because you want to do that in real life. I mean, granted, maybe you play a football game and you want to pretend that you're a real footballer, but then you don't learn those football skills when you play a football game. Like the skills don't pass over to you. Like when you're running people over or shooting people, those skills don't then turn over to you in real life, and you then know how to shoot a gun or want to shoot a gun. I mean, it's an escape. It's a core of being a human is that we have these I can't think of the word, but like creativity and kind of imagination. Like when we were all kids, we all had imaginations, and we all did like role playing things with each other, and
Kids would play cops and
yeah,
robbers.
like cops and robbers. I mean,
Hmm.
it passes up to you in the adult life, even if you repress it and think, oh no, it doesn't. I mean, it's there in the back of your head. That's why games and movies and stuff are so well received by so many people, and it kind of upsets me that a lot of people kind of just shrug games off sometimes and think, oh, you're childish. Well, you're embracing your child's side somewhat, yes, but that's not a bad thing. I mean, life is about enjoying things. So yeah, go out and climb a mountain in real life. Yeah, that would be amazing to do. Go out and have a party sometime. Yeah, that's cool. But you're enjoying this game. You're having this thing that you otherwise wouldn't do, and this experience that you're playing as a character, maybe a bad character, maybe doing bad things in GTA, but you're still having this enjoyable fun, and you can still play with friends when the online comes out.
Yeah, I think there's like Boz said, there was very little coverage about that story about those two people who went for the to save that guy from that fire, and it's like that's kind of why games like GTA 5 get so much bad rep in the first place, is because the press, and this can relate to any type of media really, whether it's TV, music, games, whatever it is, they will always prioritize negative over the positive. And especially with games like GTA 5, if something violent happens and these kids happen to be playing GTA 5, boom, we can blame that because that's a hot new thing right now, and that's going to sell stories. So in a way, it's like it's the same for all games. You know, it's not GTA 5 specific. It's just like it's just the media in general prioritizing the negative over the positive.
Yeah, I think there was an article on Reddit a while back where maybe it was might have been in a different topic, but it was where somebody had mentioned that I forget what group it was, but a gaming group recently did a big charity thing and they raised I think over $1 million uh, for I think a kids charity. It wasn't Child's Play or anything like that, but it was a very nice charity. And they called CNN and said, hey, you should cover this. CNN didn't want to have anything to do with it because it wasn't headline worthy enough. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, but again, here's something where gamers stepped up and earned a ton of money for a worthwhile charity to do good. But I mean, why televise? Why talk about that when you can, prefer to spin all the negative stuff and all the violence and everything else?
Yeah.
On this
Benefit your
subject,
media.
though, yeah, on this subject though, just to kind of as we can close out with our thoughts on it, there's a TV show here that airs in the morning called The View, and it's a bunch of women like Barbara Walters, Whoopi Goldberg, others who I don't know because I don't really watch the show. Um, they usually go off on a lot of different subjects and talk and get pretty heated, but they dealt with the violence in video games, and I was actually impressed that for the most part they basically just said, hey, as a parent, it's your job to not let your kids play these games if they shouldn't be playing them, which I thought was good. And then of course the quote that made it up on Reddit was when Whoopi Goldberg said she doesn't play GTA, she plays Diablo. She's doesn't she said she kills I forget how she worded it, like demons and different things. That's what she likes to kill, not other humans. But it was just kind of funny, to see that. I was really expecting if that show dealt with it that they would be all over gaming and everything else. But I mean, it's always going to be something. People always look for other excuses, and generally when it comes to this issue like this, parents sometimes don't want to do their jobs, so it's easier to blame others. But I think it always comes down to there are sick people in the world, and it doesn't really matter if they're playing video games or what they're doing. Some people just like to do things to hurt other people. And what's the cause of it? It's not video games, it's not movies. Uh, some people just aren't right. All right, so let's move on to crew news. We have just a couple things to talk about. But one, if you haven't already caught it, yesterday, Friday, we have a video that went up saying that the signups are started for season 4 of The Mole. So there's a link in the description of that you can go fill out the form, answer all the questions. We encourage you to make an application video to link to in that. Put it on your YouTube channel. Could be audio, could be in game. Doesn't have to be like a webcam or anything like that. If you want to do it in front of a camera, that's fine too. But put it on your YouTube channel or some other service. If you put it on YouTube, make it unlisted. Don't make it private. Don't make it private. I don't know how many times last season we couldn't even view people's videos.
Yeah, there was a lot of problems with that.
And that happens sometimes still even on our questions for this podcast. Some people do them on YouTube, but they don't make them unlisted. When you make them unlisted, nobody can find them because they won't show up in your videos, but you can give a link to people and they can watch it. And that gives us the ability then to see your video. If I was friended with you on YouTube, you could make it private and I could see it. But that doesn't mean that all the rest of the crew who are going to be helping and looking at these applications can see it. You'd have to be friends with all of us. So the easiest way is make it unlisted and give us a link. If you want to make it a WAV file or you want to make it like a video file and put it on some media share type site or Dropbox, that's fine too. But just make sure the link works. We do give higher priority. There's a much better chance of you making the next round of where we actually interview you and test your hardware if you do a video or something in game or whatever that shows your personality. So I highly recommend you do that route. Don't just, when that form got put up, just apply immediately and just put the generic information and hit submit. Take your time. We're going to allow the signups to go on for probably for like 2 months. Allow people to sign up. So take your
Begins.
time. So we're really looking forward to it. So obviously, first process, signups. We'll let those run for a couple months. We'll then sift through them. We're then going to try to send out messages to the people because you have to give us your email so we can contact you. We'll send an email out. looking to schedule a time for you to come on so that we can talk with you one-on-one, although it'll be crew talking with you. And then from that, we will then, after we've done those interviews, we'll then decide on our, 8, 10, whatever players it may be. So we're looking forward to it. It's a lot of work, but we know you guys love it. And, we'll probably not start actual filming until beginning of next year, but we're going to use the next 3 months or so to kind of get the players because we really want to make sure we get good players. And we want season 4 to really be good.
Yep. Who
All right.
reached them all?
Next up, our last crew news segment. We just did our, about 3 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, we did the 8-hour live stream, and that was a first-person shooter theme. We're going to do another 8-hour live stream October 12th. That's Saturday. So what we need from you guys is give us some suggestions for themes, what you'd like us to do. Obviously, we did first-person shooter, so we're not going to do that. I know some people have asked for like Minecraft-related themes. Some people have talked about different genres of games. But give us some ideas of what you'd like to see us do, and we'll try to figure out maybe something with that. We may not do the themes that you guys want, all of you want. We're going to try to come up with something, but we're going to do these every month, so we'll try to continue to have different themes. Any themes that you guys can think of?
I'd quite like to do kind of a role-playing type thing. Maybe a...
You mean RPG games or something else?
Yeah, like RPG games or kind of like Worms type games or Don't Shoot Me League type games, like Age of Empires type games. What are they called? Extra. My brain's gone
RTS.
dead. Yeah, real-time strategy.
Yeah, I definitely like to do RTS games, but I think another one that might be interesting is racing games. Like Blur and the Sega All-Star one that we played. We played that one as well. Stuff like that, because we usually get really competitive with that, and I think that's something that the fans like to see. They like to see us like talk a bit of trash in that. So I definitely think racing games probably might be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of genres out there, guys. I mean, think about it and post in the description or post in the video here what you'd like in the comments. Because we've heard people say, they want like say where we do Minecraft mini games with fans, or we do Minecraft maps, just a series of them, just the crew playing maps. Some have said they want us to do um, different strategy games. Some have said they want us to, do like actually talk about more. It was commented was sports games. So would you want to see us doing sports where it's like racing, soccer, football, that whole setup, or would you prefer a more specific one like Extra said, where it's just racing, things like that? So give us some ideas and thoughts, and we'll try to work these into the coming months. Next segment, our main segment, and this is where I want you guys to, and also you guys watching in the comments post. But what do you guys think are some games that don't really get enough press or aren't that well known? And we're talking current games. Let's just say something that's been out in the last year or so. What do you think are some games that are really good that people just don't know about or don't really? Maybe they look at it and go, I'm not going to play it. But games that are diamonds in the rough, basically.
My choice is going to be obvious if you know me. I've mentioned it before. I wish we could play it more. Is CAG. CAG is a 2D kind of cooperative war game, and you can play as 3 different characters. You can be a knight, an archer, or a builder. It's kind of like Terraria meets Capture the Flag meets kind of PvP aspects of stuff. So like as a knight, you can have a sword and a shield and fight people. As an archer, you have bows and arrows and you can shoot people from a distance and like snipe them. And as a builder, you can build structures and stuff or build traps. And the great thing about this game is it has physics. So like if you build a tower and then maybe you try and blow up the tower, it will fall and collapse and maybe people inside will die. And it's medieval as well, so it's really cool, and I really like this game, and I really want to play it more. And they've updated it as well, so there's a proper like gold edition to it now, and it looks really, really great. There's animals in it now, and they're adding loads of cool stuff.
Okay, what about you, Extra?
I've actually went for a single player game. It's actually a game I got into a little while ago, and that was Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. The game itself came out in 2004, and I don't know if I'd consider that an old game, but basically the reason I like this game so much is it's one of those RPGs that you'll never play anything like it again. Like for me, for example, when I think RPG, I think you get the normal little tech tree. It's fantasy. Most RPGs, at least the ones I play, will have a fantasy or there's some kind of survival like genre. But Vampire the Masquerade takes a really weird edge on it, where it's more you're in like a city, like you're in like a city scene. Obviously, by the name you can guess it's a vampire type game, but it's like an RPG vampire game, and it's one of those games where it's like you don't see how it would work until you play it. And like it's just weird how many people don't know about this game. I mean, it's got like a cult following, especially with like the goth scene. It is like a very dark type of game. It's got like whatever the goth scene like it, okay? But um
Goshun.
yeah, it was also the first third party game to use Valve Source Engine, so that's also a little thing, bit of random trivia. But I guess it's kind of not well known because the developers who actually made it, which was Troika Games, I think it was called, actually went out of business a year later. So it kind of shows why it wasn't that well known, because obviously I guess not that much was distributed. I don't know who owns the rights to it now. I think it's Activision. But yeah, like I think it is available on Steam. So anybody like who's a fan of RPG games, give this one a try. Like it is amazing. I've played like 50 hours on it, and just to keep in mind, that's on one playthrough, and there's like 5 different playthroughs. So there you go. You've got 250 hours straight off the bat. So it's well worth the money you pay for it.
Okay. All right. Very cool. I remember the game when it first came out. For me, I'm going to pick one that we've actually done one video of and one live stream of. And I think it is got a lot of potential, but I think it kind of gets lost in the mix because of some of the other titles that are out there right now, like Minecraft, like Starbound, that'll be out. But it is StarMade, which we've played, which is kind of a Minecraft in space. The developer continually is working on this game, and really, in a sense, you could play it for free for a while. I don't think they've reached anything where it's more just like go ahead and pay now $3 or whatever to play it. But I think it's kind of cool in the fact that you can actually make ships like you could in Minecraft, but make them actually move. The space exploration. I had a lot of fun when we played it the one day, and when we landed on the planet and the pirates were attacking and all that gunfire was going off, laser shots, cannons, whatever. Um, I mean, I think it looks like an interesting game, but I think it's getting lost with the other titles like Minecraft, Cube World, 7 Days to Die, and all these different kind of Minecrafty-ish type games. But I think it has a lot of potential. But we'll see if it can capitalize on that or if it's going to get lost.
I don't know.
Sadly, Piper's not here to tell us what her unknown diamond in the rough is. I'm
My favourite game is the book adventures in Bookland. You are in a library and you.
Okay, no,
How
carry
many
on, carry on.
guys
You
tap
start,
you
you
don't
start
know
again.
you don't know how far off what you just said kind of is a game that she wants to play that's coming out that is set in a library. So
Oh,
so
okay.
Boom.
You move.
You're like Nostradamus. So let's talk deals of the week. Now, the Humble Bundle 9 is still going on, and they just added 4 games to it for those who I think paid like around $5. I think it was like four something, like 4.90 maybe. But what games were added, Giz, and what are the games that were already in it?
Games that were added, I believe, is Rocket Bird's Hard-Boiled Chicken, a virus called Tom, Bastion, and Limbo. I think those are the 4 that were added. Might be mistaken, I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, that's it. I mean, Bastion obviously was a
Yeah.
popular game. Limbo, popular game. Not too sure about the other two. But what were the other games that were already included? Just to refresh from last week.
Trying to complete story, Mark of the Ninja, Eats Munchies Beta, Brutal Legend, Child's Play Charity? What's
No,
that?
those are just all the charities. You can
Oh,
skip all
okay.
those.
Okay. FTL Faster Than Light, which is a great game. I love it. And Piper loves Fez. The FTL and Fez were the ones that were included with the pay more than average.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are all still great games, and the fact that if you don't have Bastion and you don't have Limbo, two other good games to get added to your mix. I mean, really, $5 you get all those games. I mean, you can pay more, and if you can, you should, because you can even dictate how much of it goes to charity versus the developers and all that with some sliders. But really, some great games, and they always seem to throw some stuff out there. Some of these games people already have. Um, but hey, I mean, for $5, just to be able to play Fez or be able to play FTL or Brutal Legend is so funny. It's a great game. And then of course with Bastion, if you don't have that, and Limbo, I mean, just a lot of really nice games.
I've heard a lot of good things about Bastion. I've heard Bastion's really good. I've heard the soundtrack's really good too.
I
Yeah, and
think
you do get
Mario
the
likes Bastion.
soundtracks. You do get the soundtracks for a lot of these games included in it. So for $5, you get a lot of games and soundtracks for the games. So it's really cool. All right, now the other deal of the week is another Humble deal. This is their weekly deal, and this is, I believe, EgoSoft collection, which
Mm-hmm.
does the X series of games. So what games are in this one extra?
Okay, so basically what you've got X Beyond the Frontier, you've got X Tension, X To the Fret, X Free Reunion, and there's also a bonus package, which is like the soundtracks and a prelude for another upcoming X game that's coming out. There's also, if you pay over the average, which is currently $6 for this, obviously it will probably change as soon as this comes out, but if you pay more on the average, you also get X Free Terran Conflict, X Free Albion Prelude, and X the Super Box bonus material, which, as far as I'm aware, is all the soundtracks as well as like some custom levels and stuff. I think that's what it is. So I haven't actually played X, but I've heard it's really good.
That is a lot of X's.
Yeah, I
Yeah, it
mean,
is.
these are basically space simish type games. Quite popular with people who are into this genre. Um, so I know Extra said he hasn't really played them. Have you played any of these guys?
No, I played a similar game ages ago with an X in the name. It was kind of a shooter type thing, a space shooter.
So I mean, these
Um,
definitely great games. I mean, you get a whole bunch of them. You basically get the franchise, and for very little money. And all these games, you can either download them, either the previous Humble Bundle we talked about, or the weekly bundle, or you can get them through Steam. They have codes for Steam, so works great either way. I prefer to go the Steam route, just that way, anytime the games are patched, it's automatically handled for you. But these are great ways to build up your Steam library. And sometimes it's just nice to have some games, extra games for maybe when you get bored, you got some downtime, and you're tired of playing Killing Floor, you're tired of playing Team Fortress 2 or whatever it is you may be playing. Just to have some other games, and these are some really good games in some cases.
yep, definitely.
I just think the value, like especially the amount of hours you get for the amount that you pay, like you can. I think Humble pretty much leads as far as how many hours you
Yeah,
can get.
it's ridiculous. People are paying like so much money to play GTA 5, and you can get so many hours out of that. But then you can pay like a tiny amount for these indie games, but you can get like so many hours out of them. It's ridiculous.
All right, let's move on to our final segment, which is your questions. Now, remember, there's a link here in the description of the video or in the podcast description that will show you how to submit questions. Just like we talked about with the mole sign up, when you do the question for us, you can send it as a video, you can send it as an audio question, and just link us either to the YouTube video that's unlisted, or if it's a WAV file of you asking a question or whatever, put it on Dropbox, SoundCloud, or whatever some of these other services are. Anything that we can easily get to it. We will obviously put those questions on more than, say, just text questions. But sadly, we do not have any of those in this week, so we're going to have to go with just plain old text questions and try to come up with questions that haven't been asked before. We always get asked how people got in a crew and all that, so try to come up with some unique things. But our first question comes from Panda Princess 83. And she asks, what is your guys' favorite series you have done so far? It can be any game.
It's a hard one.
That is a hard one.
Um, I mean, I guess Mole is always going to be a really high point for me. I mean, both playing it and helping backstage. I think it's one of our most the series that we put the most effort into as well because we want it to be so good. So I think that's always going to take the cake for me.
Okay.
You know, it's as hard as it is, and even though I know Piper would probably have a go at me for this, but she's not here, so it's okay. I'd actually go with Minecraft Brothers. I know it's early, like it's so early, but
Oh,
just the amount of jokes, just to have us all in like one group, and just the casual banter that goes on in those episodes are just so good. I'm sure, like Piper, even though she probably wouldn't, because she's two mana. She'd probably say the same thing about Minecraft Sisters, like the banter that they all have when they're in these episodes is just so good, and it's just like I don't know. I think it's only in episodes like Brothers and Sisters do we get that level of banter in actual footage.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Piper would probably pick Sisters on here. She might say Mole, but I think if she was to exclude Mole, I think Sisters would probably be it. And that really was her first real foray into making the videos herself, doing the editing and everything. It was an idea for the series with her and Alicia, but Piper's kind of first series editing, and it is a very popular series. But I think that's what Piper would pick. Now, for me, I mean, Mole is my go-to answer for this, um, just because it was kind of like the biggest thing I think we've done, kind of like the most unique thing where we kind of did something that no one else had really done. But since Giz has already mentioned that one, and you've mentioned
sorry.
Brothers, no, that's fine. I wanted to say the one thing that we did, and it's not necessarily a series because we've only done it once, but I really enjoyed how well it turned out was the survival games in Arma.
Oh yes, of
Yeah, that
course.
was cool.
Oh, why didn't I pick that one? Yes. Yeah, I really wish that gets more views because it was such a great event and the video itself turned out so great. And I'm so excited for the next one. When is the next one, boss? When is the next one?
We have to wait till we get everybody back. Everybody's like Piper taking all these like holidays, so it'll probably won't happen until after Minecon.
Yeah.
Sometime in November, hopefully,
Oh,
we'll do the next one.
can we do an IRL games?
Well, we could try. I'm not quite sure how that would work out, but for me, I really enjoyed that one. I didn't know how well it would turn out, um, but and even while it was happening, I was like, oh, things could go horribly wrong. Um, and some things happened that for the very ending, I was worried about a situation that occurs, and I don't want to say too much in case you haven't watched it, because I really recommend, even if you're not a fan of Arma, or you think, oh, that's just what they do DayZ in. It works so well for survival games, Hunger Games. Check out the video we did in Arma because it's a series of videos, but it was a lot of fun. And just listening to the players, their strategies, their stress, the combat, the taunting, the anger. There was just so many different emotions in it, but it just really worked out so well. And we've learned some things from it that will hopefully apply to the next one and make it even better. But for me, that was kind of something recent we've done that I really enjoyed. Okay. And our last question comes from Greenavo. And he wants to know, will you do any type of GTA 5 gameplays? I know the game is mature, but you could always play online and do races or GTA Hunger Games, or even heists. It would be a ton of fun.
We would have we had it.
Yeah, I'm gonna save up and get one of the consoles and get the game because I just need to play it and
I'll get it for the PC, I think.
Yeah, that's going to be the
yeah.
problem with doing anything in GTA 5 is we have some crew that will play it on the console. We have some crew that will wait and play it on the PC. Traditionally, most of the stuff we do, pretty much everything we do, is PC related. So we don't really do a lot of console videos. We did stream Minecraft during the 24-hour charity live stream on the 360. So we'll have to see. I mean, the next gen consoles are adding Twitch options. I have a hardware device for streaming consoles now. There's a chance. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing some stuff. If we do anything online, we probably would keep it crew or friends of the crew or people we know, just because online experiences can vary greatly. We've seen
And
that,
especially with GTA games.
yeah, and we've seen that byproduct just when we played, say, Arma. We've done like DayZ, Overwatch. you go on these servers, people get really upset when there's combat and fighting, and people are really quick to type vulgarities, say vulgarities. So obviously, if we did something GTA for the main channel, we'd have to kind of watch how we do it because we want to keep it uh, as friendly as possible, but in that type of game. But I think we'll definitely probably try to do something. It's just a matter of when. We're not going to be jumping on the bandwagon. I mean, although it's starting to slow down now. I think the first day of release, GTA was on Twitch. Was the number one thing being streamed. It's like dwarfing even League of Legends.
Mm.
But now, a couple days later, I think League of Legends has got back up, and I think even Dota may even be above the GTA streamers right now. So it's starting to slow down, and but it has taken away viewers from a lot of other games. You've seen a lot of the other games like DayZ who have seen a real big drop in their viewers because everybody's watching GTA streams.
Yeah.
But we'll see what we can do. I mean, maybe we'll do some GTA 4 or something because we can do that much easier right now. Well, we'll try to look into something. But with that, guys, that ends episode 18 of the Crewcast. If you guys want to say goodbye, we will head out.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the Crewcast. We hope you tune in again next time. Compass.